Have you ever noticed that sometimes it feels like if we stop, everything will fall apart? Our work, our momentum, our progress, even our identity. See, we live in a culture that quietly teaches us that our worth is connected to how much we produce. If we are busy, we feel valuable. If we are achieving, we feel safe. If we're moving fast, we feel like we're doing life correctly. But I want to share with you something that came very clear for me recently. I just spent over 5 days in the woods, completely disconnected from my phone. No social media, no email, no phone calls, no external stimulation. And I do this every year as a part of a women's rite of passage through the Mishtika lineage, is a shamanic practice called moon dance. So for 5 days, over 100 women, we are in nature praying, dancing, reflecting, and reconnecting with ourselves and with each other. And something fascinating happens every time. The world keeps going. My responsibilities do not collapse. My life does not fall apart, but my nervous system finally has space to breathe. And when the nervous system finally slows down, something very important becomes visible. The exhaustion that so many people feel today is not physical, it's neurological, it is emotional, it's energetic. And in many ways, it's cultural. In this video, I want to explore three main things with you. First, why so many people have an exhausted nervous system, even when they are successful and doing well on the outside. Second, why restoring your nervous system is essential, not just for your personal well being, but also for living a life of integrity and purpose. And third, the very simple practices that you can use today to start resetting your nervous system and reconnect with your own clarity. What is happening? To understand why so many people feel exhausted today, we first need to understand something about the nervous system. The nervous system evolved in environments where stimulation came in waves. There were moments of action and moments of rest. There were moments of alertness and moments of safety. But in the modern world, everything is very different. Today we live in a constant stream of stimulation and emails and notifications and messages and social media and news cycles that are bombarding us and deadlines, and your brain is processing thousands of signals every single minute. And when the nervous system does not get a time to rest, it begins to stay stuck in a state of low level survival mode. This does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it simply feels like mental fatigue or difficulty focusing, like difficulty making decisions. That translates to that constant state, that sense of pressure, or a strange feeling of being busy all the time, but somehow feeling disconnected from what really matters. Many high performers experience this. From the outside, their lives look successful, but internally, they feel scattered, overwhelmed, they feel exhausted. Not because something is wrong, but because their nervous system has not had space to recover. So, why does this matter? The deeper question is not just what is happening. The deeper question is, why does it matter? Why should we care about restoring our nervous system? The first reason is just personal. When your nervous system is in a constant overloaded state, we lose access to something essential. We lose access to ourselves. We may be still functioning, right? You might still be working and achieving and producing and meeting the deadlines, but something inside feels distant, right? The creativity becomes harder, clarity becomes harder, joy can become harder to access because your nervous system is just too busy processing stimulation to listen to the deeper signals that your body and your intuition are trying to sent to you. And those signals are incredibly important, right? They are your desires, your curiosities, the things that make you feel alive. Those are not random impulses. That is often how your deeper intelligence communicates with you. When your nervous system becomes calm enough, those signals are finally audible. And that is when life begins to feel meaningful again. The second reason this matters is integrity, right? Integrity is not just about honesty. Integrity is about coherence between your inner world and your outer life. It means that what you say, what you believe, what you desire, and how you live are in alignment. But when you live in a constant urgency and reaction, something happens, right? Our calendars become full, but our inner world becomes hard to listen to. It's like quietly unhealthy. And we stop asking questions like, what do I actually want? And what am I creating with my life? And what truly lights me up? And then we move into obligation mode. Sounds familiar? When we are in obligation mode for too long, our nervous system begins to feel trapped. And that feeling of exhaustion is not just physical, right? It's the nervous system trying to tell us that we are living out of alignment. And if we can't listen, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. The third reason this matters so much is bigger than you as an individual. We are living in a moment of history where we are being asked to step into a new level of leadership. This is not the same leadership we've seen, right? It's not driven by urgency or burnout or power, but it's a leadership that comes from clarity and coherence, wisdom. Because the truth is this, the state of your nervous system is what shapes your decisions. And the decisions we make shape the world that we are co creating. When people lead from exhaustion, from pressure and fear, they create systems that reflect those same states. But when people lead from clarity and regulation, something very different becomes possible because creativity expands and our relationships can deepen and our communities become healthier. We become healthier ourselves. The quality of our presence, how we engage with people, with life changes. Neuroscience helps explain why this is happening. Your brain is consistently reshaping itself through a process called neuroplasticity. The states you experience repeatedly become the patterns that the brain learns. And if you're constantly in urgency and pressure and output, your brain becomes wired for stress. Your nervous system literally becomes better at being stressed. But the opposite is also true. When we create space for silence, for reflection, for restoration, we begin forming new neural pathways. These new neural pathways are connected to creativity, to intuition, to insight, to emotional regulation. When the nervous system shifts from survival mode into a regulated state, we become powerful because clarity becomes available. In ancient wisdom, interestingly, they understood this long before neuroscience did, right? We know that the prophets went into the deserts and the mystics went into the caves and the mountains and the visionaries went into the forest, not because they were escaping life, but because truth becomes easier to hear when the noise stops. This is why practices like retreat, pilgrimage, and ceremonies exist across so many cultures. They create the conditions where the nervous system can settle and deeper intelligence can emerge. Every time I return from my time in the woods or in the Amazonian jungle or up in the mountains somewhere, something becomes very clear. The clarity we are searching for is often waiting for us in the space, in the silence. We know also from polarity work and from also many ancient traditions and Taoist practices that we all have the feminine inside of us, the feminine polarity and the masculine polarity. And I want you to think about the feminine. A very important part to activate inside of ourselves is like water. Water nourishes life, water adapts, water slowly shapes the landscape around it. Our energy works in a similar way. When our nervous system becomes calm and coherent, the quality of our presence changes. We become environments where creativity and connection and insight can flourish. Instead of constantly reacting to the world, we begin shaping the world around us. So, how do we start restoring the nervous system if it's not going into the woods or the mountains or whatever? I want to share with you some ideas that I find incredibly helpful and are super easy. So, one thing that I love doing is walking my dog at night without my phone. Just time for us to move and breathe. I love just making my breath the meditation and feeling the steps and letting my mind just calm and dropping my attention to my feet. This practice alone just helps you calm your nervous system, also helps you get prepared to go to sleep early. You want to find ways to process and reset that are not just resting. Restoration is very different. The second practice is digital fasting. We have digital time, computers and emails and phone, and we must also have analog time. Same like my practice walking my dog, even a few hours away from screens can begin to reset your nervous system. The first thing I noticed when I came back from the woods from Moondance, I notice this every year, is how intense the stimulation of the phone actually is. We often do not realize how much we're stimulated and absorbing information from this device until we step away from it. Another way that I digital fast is that I put my phone on airplane mode until I have my practice in the morning, and I don't reply to emails or messages until I breathe, I move, and I drink my water. The third practice is just scheduling time for vision, right? Not planning time, vision time. Time where you can be in an environment that really regulates and you can ask the deep questions like, what is lighting me up right now? What feels heavy in my life? What kind of energy do I want to live in this year? What do I know that when I do it and if I do it, it gives me vibrant energy. It brings energy richness into my life. You are responsible for your energy. And oftentimes, the things that give us energy richness also support us in regulating our nervous system. When the nervous system becomes calm enough, the answer to those questions begin to appear naturally. The leaders who will naturally thrive in the next chapter of our culture will not be the ones who can produce the most. They will be the ones who know how to protect their energy, who know how to regulate their nervous systems, and who create space to listen to their own truth. Because when you can listen, you can hear yourself clearly, your actions begin to align naturally with what matters most and what reflects your truth. So, if you have been feeling exhausted lately, I want to offer you a different perspective. Maybe the answer is not pushing harder. Maybe the answer is creating space to breathe, space to restore, space to listen, like schedule it into your calendar, because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is not doing more. It's becoming quiet enough to remember who we are. If you're interested in this work, I would love to connect with you. If this video moves something inside of you today, please subscribe to this channel and connect with me. I support impact-driven leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries in designing lives that reflect who they are without burnout or self-sacrifice.